So 10 games in, you'd think that the Mortal Kombat series would be running out of ideas, but it seems you guys have no shortage of inventive ways to kill people.
We are actually very ecstatic that players have continued to follow us into our 10th version of Mortal Kombat. To our pleasant surprise, the last version of Mortal Kombat was the best-selling of all the Mortal Kombats. So I think, you know, after 20 years to have your best-selling one is really a good sign that people are still interested in their game.
So new characters as well. You showed 4 new characters today. How many more new characters are we going to have? Are we going to have a lot of the old favourites, or are you kind of trying to push with new characters for this one?
One of the goals we had with this game was to introduce as much new features, characters, elements, gameplay features to the game, and one of them being characters is, you know, I think this Mortal Kombat game will probably introduce more new characters than any Mortal Kombat game has, and which is we're really excited about from that standpoint. But the fact that we have new ones, we're obviously going to bring back some of the classic ones that people are used to. We've seen here that we have Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but I'm sure you'll see more of the more iconic characters as well.
And you guys introduced the interactive environments in a big way with Injustice, and it seems to be making a comeback for this. Is it as interactive as it was in Injustice, or less?
I think it's a much different implementation. You know, Injustice, you know, you were picking up cars and slamming them on people, trees, you were knocking people through walls and all these kind of crazy things, which was great for a superhero game. This is more of like a closer martial arts thing, and I think it's mainly for like leveraging, like players can jump off of a tree stump and jump really far, jump off of a tree, and kind of have more of like a it's for maneuvering yourself throughout the environment and trying to position yourself in an advantageous spot, and that's the main focus as opposed, so it's probably not quite as crazy as Injustice was.
And balance in a fighting game as well is quite important, and having characters with 3 different types, has that been tough to kind of balance and make sure it all works?
Absolutely. I think that you know, it's going to be great because we're going to have crazy variety in the game, but we are definitely going to have to call in some of the pro players, some of the Evo tournament players to come in and help us, you know, really make sure that everything's balanced.
Do you have a lot of that then, kind of interaction with the audience and getting them in and playing the game and seeing how they feel about it?
Yeah, we've been doing that for years now. We always get a good number of really good players into the office. They play the game for weeks and weeks, and then they really give us a good idea of what needs to be adjusted for balance.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process of coming up with fatalities? Because it's Mortal Kombat's signature, and they seem to get more and more gruesome each time. What's the kind of process behind it?
Well, the process with us at NetherRealm is we have fatality meetings, and everybody comes into the meeting with their ideas, whether it's written down on a piece of paper, sketched out, or, you know, images that they find that help them communicate the thing, or somebody stands up and acts something out. You know, it's always fun. So everybody pitches their ideas. The ones that everybody gravitates to are usually the ones that we end up doing, and the ones that kind of cross a line, we're kind of like, yeah, we put that aside there.
Can you tell us any of the stuff that's crossed the line?
No, it's so bad that I don't even like talking about it. You know. So.
What about stuff like Fatalities and friendships? Are they going to come back for this one?
They might. You know, every game that we've had those features in, we've put them in towards the tail end of the project, and so we still have a good amount of time before the game comes out. So it might happen, but we haven't started working on anything like that yet.
What do you think it is about Mortal Kombat that people love so much? Why do you think people love that kind of really brutal kind of gore?
I think it's a number of things. I think one is there's really interesting, fun characters to play as. They do cool things, you know. Other fighting games don't have people freezing people or throwing spears and yanking them all over the place, so which is great. I think there's a really deep story. And you know, the violence is so crazy. You can't even take it seriously anymore, you know, because it's so over the top. And I think it's a combination of those things, along with people's memories. People have memories of themselves seeing the game for the first time when they were in a pizza pub or a bowling alley or something, and they just remember that, and it brings back a lot of nostalgia.
I was going to say that the extremity of the fatalities, there is a kind of comic element to it, because I found myself kind of laughing at how extreme it was.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat's the only game that people laugh or applaud at something that's just so ridiculously over the top.
Do you find it funny that Mortal Kombat was kind of the subject of controversy back in like the 90s, and as graphical fidelity's increased, it's kind of become kind of bulletproof in a way? It doesn't really draw that same kind of attention from the mainstream media anymore.
Yeah. I think part of the issue was that there was no rating system in place when Mortal Kombat came out, and so once that was put into place and we got our appropriate rating, which is an M-rated rating, most of that just kind of died down. You know, people were like, it's kind of like watching an R-rated movie or something like that, where it's just, you know what content you're signing up for.
Get over here!
Mortal Kombat X is coming out for a number of platforms: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC. It's coming out in 2015, and we'll give you more details